And communication is ultimately a skill. It's not just a character trait. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that you put on a dating, profile. There's actually legitimate skills that are needed to make sure that when we communicate, it's effective, that we walk away with shared understanding, right? And that we have the opportunity to acknowledge and validate our partner's feelings while also aligning on the logistics or the fact.
This episode is brought to you by Therapy Notes, therapynotes.com. And also, this episode is supported by Wealth and Worth Within, and you can find them at wealthworthwithin.com. For the past 20 plus years, I've been working in the mental health field as a licensed therapist, private practice owner, coach, and consultant. And I've learned a lot the hard way, and I don't think you need to do the same. Hi there, I'm Gordon Brewer, and welcome to the Practice of Therapy podcast, part of the Psychcraft network of podcasts. Whether you're just starting out, expanding your practice, or looking for fresh inspiration, this podcast is here to support you in your journey. Each week, we explore the real-world challenges and opportunities that come with building and growing your private practice. From marketing and money management to ethics, client care, and self-care, we cover it all. You'll hear from leading experts, seasoned clinicians, and innovative voices in the mental health and allied health fields, all sharing their insights and strategies to help you thrive in your practice. So let's jump in and get to today's episode of the Practice of Therapy podcast. Welcome to the podcast. This is episode number 422 of the Practice of Therapy podcast. I'm your host, Gordon Brewer, and I'm really glad that you've joined us. Hope you'll take time to follow us or subscribe to the podcast wherever you might be listening to it. Looking forward to you hearing from my guests in this particular episode. Kiana and Andrew Joyner joined me for this particular episode, and they have taken couples therapy to a different level in many ways. Usually we don't think about partners doing co-therapy in therapy sessions, but that's what they are doing, and they are combining both Andrew's knowledge and coaching experience along with Kiana's therapy experience to work with couples in a very unique way. But I think you're going to enjoy hearing from them and just thinking about how to maybe think about a different kind of model of doing couples therapy. So stay tuned for that and look forward to you hearing from them. But before we get to that, one of the things I'd love for you to do is hear from our sponsors of the podcast and also one of our newer sponsors, Wealth and Worth Within. Hi, everyone. I want to take a moment to tell you about a resource that's been really valuable for most business owners who want to level up their financial game. If you're looking to improve your financial knowledge and actually understand what's happening with your business money, you need to check out the CEO Financial Clarity Corner podcast. It's hosted by Carla Titus from Wealth and Worth Within, and she breaks down complex financial concepts into actionable steps you can actually use. We're talking about how to control your money, improve your profit, and that is the most important part, to take more pay home without feeling guilty about it. Because let's be honest, that's what we all want, right? The episodes are practical, straightforward, and designed for business owners who don't have finance degrees, but need to make smart financial decisions. I found it super helpful, and I think you will too. So check out the link here in the show notes for this episode and take time to follow and subscribe to the CEO Financial Clarity Corner wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Hi, this is Rachel, Gordon's podcast assistant, and I want to share the platform Gordon trusts for his own practice, TherapyNotes. TherapyNotes is the highest rated EHR, practice management, and billing software for mental health professionals. It's an all-in-one system for scheduling, notes, billing, and secure client communication. And if you ever need help, their 24/7 customer service is always just a call or email away. Their latest update, Therapy Fuel, uses AI to streamline documentation, generating progress notes, creating contact notes from client messages, and even summarizing client history forms, saving therapists hours every week. Are you ready to give it a try? Head to TherapyNotes.com, click Start My Free Trial, and use the code Gordon to get your first 2 months free. See why Therapy Notes is the most trusted EHR and the one Gordon chooses for his practice. Please enjoy the rest of the show.
Well, hello, folks, and welcome again to the podcast. And I'm really happy for you all to get to know today Kiana and Andrew Joyner, who have joined me to talk about doing teen couples counseling, which I think is going to be pretty interesting stuff for most everybody. So, Kiana and Andrew, tell folks a little bit more about yourself and how you've landed where you've landed.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. Well, I'm Andrew Joyner, and I'm a certified professional coach. My wife, Kiana, is a mental health therapist, and we started our practice a couple of years ago. Kind of had a long journey to get to where we are, but we ultimately came to the decision to do couples work based on a earlier venture that we started, was a YouTube channel back during the pandemic. And so we really enjoyed doing that, but we felt like we really wanted to do direct client work. My wife was already a therapist, so I decided to go and become a certified professional coach. And we decided to do a joint venture together. My background is actually in human resources. I have over 15 years of corporate HR. I still work in that field today. So I get to leverage my coaching skills, outside of our practice as well. So why don't you share a little bit about your background? Em?
Yeah, so I'm Kiana, been a therapist for over 12 years. Started in the addiction and domestic violence and with young men in the correction field, and then transitioned to working with older adults. And now we do couples therapy. And I also have individual clients where I focus on high achieving women seeking more fulfillment. So we have kind of a whole combo that we're bringing to the table.
Yes.
Right. So I'm curious, how did you all land on doing this as a team approach? I know you mentioned you had kind of like we all did, had to shift gears during the COVID stuff, but yeah. So how's all that come about for you guys?
Yeah, so it really started as something as a foundation of our marriage where we said we're a team. That's the foundation. Everything we do is as a team. So we, like he said, started the YouTube channel. We're also certified wealth educators, and we did some of that work together, helping families, couples manage their household finances and get out of debt. And so we were always doing things as a team. And I think people saw that chemistry in the YouTube channel. And we, as Andrew said, we wanted to do more direct work with people. So we thought, hey, this is a great way to do it. I'm already doing therapy. You have your coaching certificate. Let's still keep that foundation of teamwork and, take that into the couples work, because a lot of times, couples, especially those that may not feel as comfortable working with a single person, sometimes having two people in the room, they may feel like it's balanced, or just different perspectives that can be offered. So we thought it was just a unique offer to be able to approach our clients from that angle.
Yeah.
And we noticed that there wasn't very many couples doing this type of work together outside of maybe like the church environment, where you might do couples counseling with the pastor and his wife or something along those lines. There's definitely other couples doing some of this work, but we're definitely in the minority in terms of married couples doing joint therapy together.
Well, I was reminded of, probably one of the most famous couples therapy couple is the Gottmans. And, but I don't ever recall them doing work with couples together. Doesn't mean that they haven't, but yeah, I love that. I love that perspective because I think it does help disarm things a little bit, probably for couples to see that you're just having a conversation with another couple, really,
Mhm.
and helping them navigate all the ins and outs of couples work.
Yeah, I think it brings the relatability aspect.
Right.
And even though, she's professionally trained, I have professionally trained as a coach, we also can bring our practical experiences to the table. So we can understand from an experience perspective what these couples are going through. And at times even share some of the challenges that we've also had that might relate and how we navigated some of those waters using the very skills and concepts that we share with our couples.
Mhm.
Right.
So it's kind of like a three-tiered, piece where we have therapists sharing, we have a coach, and then we also have our practical experience of being married.
Right, right. And you've got the background with the financial management because that's always a hot topic within couples work is how you manage your finances. And, it's
Right.
usually money, sex, kids, and in-laws are usually the big,
Yeah.
big ones that people kind of bring to the table. Right. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For
What
sure.
are, yeah. So what, as you all have started doing this joint approach, what are you finding are kind of the main issues that people are bringing to you, coming to you as a couple?
Yeah, the number one is communication
Yeah.
issues.
Mhm.
I think it's realizing that that's the foundation for all other issues that they're bringing. So if there's challenges with intimacy, it's a lack of communication and emotional connection. If there's challenges with families or blended families, still lack of communication. If it's a challenge with expectations or role definitions, communications. So we really hone in on those communication skills and helping people to realize how they can be more clear in their communication. Because many people think they're clear and they think they're making sense to their partner, and that's just not the case.
Yeah.
Right.
So really providing that clarity there is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we work with our couples, we look at it from a perspective of there are skills that we need to develop to create a successful marriage, a successful relationship.
Yeah.
And communication is ultimately a skill. It's not just a character trait. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that you put on a dating, profile. There's actually legitimate skills that are needed to make sure that when we communicate, it's effective,
Mhm.
that we walk away with shared understanding,
Right.
and that we have the opportunity to acknowledge and validate our partner's feelings while also aligning on the logistics or the fact.
Right.
So we really lay out for our couples a series of things that are important to do when you are communicating with your partner to ensure that when you walk away from that engagement, you both are on the same page and we're moving in the same direction.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Where do you guys find that you get most of your referrals from? Or I'm sure that has been a thing like most practices, get developing those referral sources.
Yes, honestly, it's been Facebook.
Interesting.
Facebook.
There's a lot of kind of focus groups on Facebook, where it's maybe women. For me, it's like women focused groups in like local areas. Getting into those, because it tends to be for couples, the woman is looking into it and finding it. And sometimes, if it is a heterosexual couple, then sometimes dragging the guy in. But I find that in those groups, I'm seeing people posting, hey, looking for a couples counselor, so people are posting those things. So then we'll just respond. And that's where we've gotten a ton of referrals. There's also some professional, like healthcare professional groups, searching for those in your area and getting in those, especially if you have a certain niche that you really hone in on. So that's been huge as well. Just watching for those posts and responding, or if you have a virtual assistant, you could have them do that for you.
Psychology Today.
Yeah, and Psychology Today as well. Sometimes other providers may be looking for a referral and they see that we match some of the things that they're looking for. But Facebook has been number one in those groups. So if you're not in any of those groups, definitely recommend finding some and using that as a referral source because it's free.
Well, I think one of the things, I don't know how it is where you all, and you remind me, you said you're in the Dallas area.
Yep.
Yes.
I know in the Southeast, for the most part, couples therapists are not as prevalent as they are in other parts of the country. Is that something that you found in your area?
We've seen quite a few, but not the married duo, not necessarily like that combo.
Right.
There's a lot of single
Right.
practitioners that are doing the work. I feel like we found a decent amount kind of in this area too. I'm also licensed in Minnesota. So we can also see clients there as well as in Texas.
Yeah, it's well, I guess where I was kind of going with that is that I know when I first went into private practice, one of the things that kind of set me apart in my area is that there weren't not many therapists that were doing couples work. And so it automatically kind of creates this whole niche that a lot of times people don't think about. And I think a lot of times too, depending on your training, people tend to shy away from couples work.
They do. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. It takes a lot of energy and intentionality, and you're navigating two personalities, two backgrounds, maybe two mental health conditions or more, potential trauma in each of them. So there's a lot that you're navigating. So it can be very intensive. So I appreciate doing it together.
All right.
So we can play off that energy, or if I'm not sure what to say next, he'll pipe in, and it's a nice kind of synergy there.
Yeah, that's good.
I think our natural approaches from the therapist side of the world and from the coaching side of the world, she really focuses a lot on the, emotional health, the mental health, what elements are in your past that might be contributing to what you're experiencing, patterns of behavior, things like this, abuse, if there's mental health disorders, etc. And then I really focus on, as a coach, helping them set their goals, set their intentions. What is it that we're trying to accomplish as a couple? Where do we see ourselves going? And then, helping them put the pieces in place to get there. We focus a ton, like I said, on skill development. So our sessions are a little bit of, diving deeper into the feelings and stuff like that, but then also some teaching and guiding on skill development.
Right.
And I think a lot of our couples are coming to us looking for some of that instruction, not just a space where they can share their feelings, but they also want to know, how do we improve? How do we communicate better? What do we have to do? What are the practical things we have to do to communicate better, to align our finances, to improve dynamics in a household? So I think it takes a little bit more when it's a couple. And then you have two people's perspective that you have to kind of balance in the session versus if it's just a one-on-one. So that dynamic can be a little challenging. Make sure they both have equal mic time in a sense. And there's always seems to be one who's a little bit more verbal than the other. And I think the biggest benefit to having a couple in the session is it seems like, at least in our heterosexual couples, the men open up a little bit more when there's another male in the session. They feel like, they have somebody not on their side, because we don't take sides, but it just feels like a little bit more of an inviting space for them. They can be a little bit more vulnerable.
Yeah, I tend to find that as well. Being a male therapist, it seems like men are a little more comfortable talking with me and I don't want to be too stereotypical, or I'm just painting with a broad brush here, but I tend to find that as well.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Yeah.
And people will seek out a male therapist as well, because the couple duo, that's not that common. So I have seen people specifically asking for a male therapist because they want their partner to feel comfortable and not like it's just, the ladies ganging up or something like that.
Oh, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Gordon,
Well,
as you know, right, we're dealing with perception, and perception isn't always reality, right?
Mhm.
Whether that's in your relationship or just of the provider themselves. And so, we kind of have to acknowledge that to some degree, that, there's a certain perception there. And so that's going to dictate how people engage with you, at least on the onset. But we make it very clear when we first meet with them that we're not here to take sides. We don't have an agenda.
Mhm.
We're really here to prioritize your goals, what you're saying you want to work towards. And we're going to hold you both accountable equally, when necessary.
mhm.
So don't come in thinking that, oh yeah, we got her. That's not happening. So
Right. Well, what I love about the approach you're using is it's really, as most people know, the kind of the hallmark of good couples therapy is it's very process oriented and a more of a systemic approach of looking at not so much the content of what people bring, but how they navigate conflict and
Yeah.
changing all of that up and teaching them new ways to communicate, like you said, which I
Yeah.
think is
Mhm.
really good. Yeah. So,
Mhm.
if there were other people out there that are thinking, oh, this is a good approach, and I'd like to maybe think about doing partners, couples work, what would be some things that you have learned that maybe you wouldn't want them to do, or maybe they've things you've learned the hard way, so to speak?
Are you referring to other providers?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, first off, I think you have to be realistic about the skill set you and your partner possess. Kiana and I are very highly trained. We have very specific, not only education and background, but personal skills that we bring to the table, that really make this work. We work together really well as a team. That pre-existed us trying to start a business together. We have done many other ventures together prior to this. This wasn't our first foray into working together as a couple. So I think making sure that you and your partner are communicate well, you have really strong skills at how you navigate conflict between the two of you, and you treat it like a business so that you can stay organized, and there's no room for miscommunication. Because even in our joint, there's still room for, things to fall through the cracks or miscommunication to happen.
Yeah.
And it would be a shame that that would then creep into your marriage, and it become a
Mm-hmm.
wedge between you and your partner. So it's just really being honest and transparent with yourself, with your partner, on where you guys stand
Mhm.
and how well do you work together as a team in general.
All right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I would also add you have to be willing to do the work yourself. So if you have unresolved trauma, if you have unresolved issues with your partner, like every session, we have to make sure we're good.
Yeah.
Like anything from prior disagreements or anything like that, we have to make sure we have resolved that, adjust the feelings, come together to be on the same page. Otherwise, that energy is going to shift into the session. I'm going to feel like you interrupted me, or I was going to say something and you piped in. And
Mhm.
now I have an attitude and I'm trying to
Yeah.
provide therapy, because everything is very subtle. We do it virtually, but I think as most of us know, you can pick up a lot over video. It feels like you're sitting right in front of someone. So those very subtleties, we have to make sure we've done our work and we work through anything we need to before we step into those sessions so that it's not a barrier and hindrance to helping our clients.
Yeah, I love your vulnerability with that, and that the home stuff can creep into work stuff, and I think for a couple people that are working with their spouse or working with their partner, that's something you have to be really hyper aware of, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After every session, we debrief with each other,
Yeah.
just kind of on our reflections on the session, how it went. We ask each other for feedback on what we shared or what we said in the session. And, we kind of make sure we're on the same page there. So there's no miscommunications. We have this little
I was
totem.
going to say,
We have this little totem heart thing that we use. It was something laying around our office, but we use this and we kind of like slide it back and forth to one another. if one of us has something we want to share, we'll slide it over to ourselves, or if we're done, we'll slide it to the partner.
Or if one's talking too much, we'll take it.
Yeah. So we kind of balance each other, make sure we each get equal time to ask questions and engage. And so we've just found, like little small ways to do that, to make sure one person isn't dominating the conversation. So we each equally can ask questions and share insights.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And that's modeling, I think, too, for couples, just, just healthy communication and just being able to hear one another and I think as the Gottmans put it, being able to accept the other person's influence is such an important piece of couples work, of just having a healthy relationship, is being able to do that.
Right. Yeah. Because you can't fake it.
All right.
You can't, and because you're on the fly, you're live.
Yeah.
Right. There's no edits that you can make.
Yeah.
Right.
So if someone says something and if I felt something, they're going to see it.
Yeah.
So like you really have to be real, be very real with yourself and real with your partner.
Yeah. Sure. Well, that's great. That's great. Kiana and Andrew, I know we could probably spend all day talking about couples work. It's one of my favorite topics, but got to be respectful of your time. Tell folks how they can get in touch with you and that sort of thing.
Yes, you can go right to our website, souljourneyproject.com. You can book a consultation directly through there. We have articles, we have information about us. We have a journal on there as well. And we would love to connect with you and see where we go in the future. We're also on Instagram at Soul Journey Project, as well as Facebook as well.
Right. Do you still have your YouTube channel?
It's not currently active. We paused it for a little while to focus, really focus on our work with our couples and joining great podcasts like this one. And maybe one day in the future, we'll reactivate it and kind of switch it up a little bit. But,
yeah, I think people would like that. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Well, we'll have links here in the show notes and the show summary for people to get to all of this easily. And Kiana and Andrew, it's been a pleasure to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gordon.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Oh, yes. Again, a big thanks to Kiana and Andrew for joining me on the podcast. I always love hearing about different ways in which we can provide services to people. And I think doing co-therapy just adds a lot of value for people, particularly with the approach that they are using with combining the therapeutic approach along with the coaching approach. I think can be a good way to think about doing what we do, particularly with couples. And I'm a big fan of couples therapy since I am an LMFT. But anyway, again, thanks to Kiana and Andrew, and be sure and check out their links here in the show notes and show summaries. And also, I want to say a big thanks to TherapyNotes for being a longtime sponsor of the podcast. They are the leading electronic health record system for mental health providers. They're who I use in my practice, and constantly impressed with all the new bells and whistles, so to speak, that they add to their products. They have really a very complete portal and platform to use in your practice, particularly on the clinical side. So be sure and check them out by going to practiceoftherapy.com/therapynotes. And you can use a promo code, just Gordon, to try them out for 2 months for free. And also, before we go, if you want more financial clarity for your business, make sure you subscribe or follow the CEO Financial Clarity Corner podcast. It's packed with practical insights on managing your money, increasing profit, and paying yourself what you deserve. There's a link here in the show notes, and trust me, your future self will thank you for listening to that podcast. And as I mentioned at the beginning, do take time to follow us and follow this podcast and recommend all these things to your friends. So take care, folks. You have been listening to the Practice of Therapy podcast with Gordon Brewer, part of the PsychCraft network of podcasts. Please visit us at practiceoftherapy.com for more information, resources, and tools to help you in starting, building, and growing your private practice. And if you haven't done so already, please sign up to receive the free Private Practice Startup Guide at practiceoftherapy.com. And to find more great podcasts like this one, please visit the PsychCraft Network at psychcraftnetwork.com. The information in this podcast is intended to be accurate and authoritative concerning the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, or producers are rendering legal, accounting, or clinical advice. And if you need help in these areas, be sure to find the right professional to help you with these things.